For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. The Department of Homeland Security is ending its collective bargaining agreement with workers in the Transportation Security Administration as part of an effort to dismantle union protections. The DHS said poor performers were being allowed to stay on the job, hindering efforts to keep Americans safe. The American Federation of Government Employees says Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and President Donald Trump are violating the right of staffers to join a union. It says the order stripped collective bargaining rights from 47,000 transportation officers who are responsible for staffing airports around the country. This as President Donald Trump has appointed the CEO of an anti-union advocacy group, Americans for Fair Treatment, in charge of the Labor Department's Office of Labor Management Standards, which oversee union financial disclosures and union busting consultants. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced today he's canceling 83% of the programs at the USAID, the U.S. Agency for International Development, slashing 5,200 programs worth tens of billions of dollars. Rubio said on social media they do not serve U.S. interests. 18% of contracts, about 1,000, will remain and be moved to the State Department, indicating a complete gutting of the 60-year-old agency. Last week, President Trump directed agency heads to slash funding and said otherwise Elon Musk, who leads DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, would step in and do it. Lawsuits brought by some of the nonprofit groups and businesses that had USAID contracts say the purge is impacting programs that Rubio had said he wanted to save and violating contract terms, stiffing aid groups and businesses out of billions of dollars. President Trump dismissed economic concerns over his planned tariffs and the prospect of higher prices, and he did not rule out the possibility of a recession this year, speaking to Fox News Channel's Sunday Morning Futures.
Are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time.
After imposing and then quickly pausing 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada, Trump says his plans for broader reciprocal tariffs will go in effect April 2nd, raising them to match what other countries assess. California, Maryland, and 18 other states are suing multiple federal agencies alleging the Trump administration has illegally fired thousands of federal probationary workers. Attorneys General Anthony Brown of Maryland and Rob Bonta of California are leading the litigation that was filed last week in Maryland. The suit says the mass firings will cause irreparable burdens and expenses on states because states will have to support recently unemployed workers, adjudicate claims of unemployment assistance. Bonta says the job losses have already caused 149% increases in state unemployment benefit claims by federal workers.
This sweeping mass firing is simply put illegal. This action to quote unquote curb waste and inefficiency, end quote, is exactly the opposite. It's wasteful. It's inefficient. Unfortunately, this is yet another example of my office needing to follow through on our promise. We'll take action if and when Trump violates the law and infringes on our rights.
The lawsuit also says the layoffs will hurt state finances due to lost tax revenue and additional service needs for the suddenly unemployed. Saudi Arabia is set to host talks tomorrow between the United States and Ukraine after an argument erupted during President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to the White House last week. On Friday, Saudi's foreign minister said the talks would take place in Jeddah, a port city on the Red Sea. South Korea's military says North Korea's fired ballistic missiles into the sea. The launch happened hours after South Korean and U.S. troops kicked off their large annual combined drills, which the North Korea sees as an invasion rehearsal and provocative. Women's rights activists rallied around the world for International Women's Day Saturday. In Paris, the group Femin rallied bare-breasted with body paint, some with U.S. flags and swastikas painted over them, chanting fascist epidemic, feminist response. They also chanted for a feminist Europe, not fascist. Thousands marched across Latin America against femicide. Protests took place across the U.S. as well. Hundreds rallied in San Francisco. The year's theme was For All Women, Rights, Equality, Empowerment. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivered a message celebrating advances in past years, but also warning of pushback, saying instead of mainstreaming equal rights, we're seeing the mainstreaming of misogyny. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.